Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters. Today, I take you to 10th century Muslim Spain to discover an extraordinary woman whose story has been unjustly forgotten. Her name, Lubna of Cordoba, a slave who became the most powerful librarian of her era, a mathematician, poet, and translator who transformed Cordoba into the intellectual capital of the West. Get ready to discover how a woman from the humblest background revolutionized the world of science and letters in one of history's most brilliant civilizations. We are in the 10th century in Cordoba, capital of the Caliphate of Al-Andalus. Imagine a city of over 500,000 inhabitants when Paris had only 25,000. A metropolis where Muslims, Christians, and Jews coexisted, where paved streets were lit at night, where running water reached every house. A true urban paradise for the time. At the heart of this splendor stands Madinat al-Zahra, the palatial city of Caliph Abd-al-Rahman III. In this sumptuous palace with 4,000 marble columns, perfumed gardens, and mercury fountains lies one of the greatest libraries of the medieval world. This is where our heroine will write her legend. Lubna of Cordoba, full name Lubna bint Abd al-Mawla al-Andalusiya, was born around 930 into a very modest Iberian family. A freed slave, she perfectly represents the social mobility possible in the Al-Andalus of the time. But how can a woman of servile condition rise so high? The answer lies in one word: exceptional intelligence. In 10th century Andalusian society, intellectual merit could break down all social barriers. Lubna began her career as a simple copyist in service of the palace secretary, but quickly her extraordinary talents in calligraphy, her perfect mastery of classical Arabic, and her encyclopedic knowledge attracted the attention of the Caliph himself. In 961, Abd al-Rahman III died and his son Al-Hakam II ascended the throne. This new caliph, nicknamed the Bibliophile, shared with Lubna a devouring passion for books and knowledge. This is the beginning of a legendary collaboration. Al-Hakam II appointed Lubna as personal secretary and entrusted her with directing the royal library. Imagine, a woman, former slave, at the head of the largest manuscript collection in the West. The library then counted more than 400,000 volumes, when the Library of St. Gall Abbey, the richest in Christian Europe, had only 600. But Lubna did not content herself with managing this pharaonic collection. She revolutionized it. Lubna established a revolutionary classification system for the time. She organized works by disciplines: mathematics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, poetry, grammar. Each book received a precise code, a detailed summary, and a location card. But her genius went further. She created a true network of scholars throughout the Mediterranean world. Her agents traveled Baghdad, Cairo, Damascus, Constantinople to acquire the rarest manuscripts. She maintained regular correspondence with the greatest scholars of her time. Lubna perfectly mastered Arabic, Latin, Hebrew, and Berber. She herself translated numerous Greek texts into Arabic, thus contributing to the preservation of ancient heritage. Without her, how many works of Aristotle, Galen, or Euclid would have been lost forever? For Lubna was not just a brilliant librarian, she was a true polymath. She excelled in mathematics and developed new calculation methods. Her treatises on algebra were authoritative throughout the Muslim world. In astronomy, she perfected astrolabes and contributed to ephemeris calculations. Her celestial observations of remarkable precision would serve as reference for centuries, but it is perhaps in poetry that she shone brightest. Her verses of striking beauty celebrated nature, divine love, and the quest for knowledge. Here is one of her most famous poems. In the gardens of wisdom, I gather the flowers of science. Each page turned reveals a new mystery, for knowledge is the most beautiful of treasures, more precious than gold and silver. Under Lubna's impetus, the Cordoba Library became a true intellectual laboratory. She welcomed scholars of all faiths: the Jewish physician Hasdai ibn Shaprut, the Christian philosopher Resimund, the Muslim astronomer al-Majriti. Lubna organized philosophical debates, poetry contests, scientific conferences. She had the most important works copied and distributed, thus contributing to the circulation of ideas throughout the medieval West. Her influence far exceeded the palace walls. She advised the caliph on education issues, participated in teaching reform, and supervised the creation of schools throughout the emirate. One of the most remarkable aspects of Lubna's work was her tolerant and pluralist vision of knowledge. In her library, Aristotelian philosophy treatises stood alongside Quranic commentaries, Greek medical texts dialogued with Sufi mystical works. She had the Bible translated into Arabic, collected Hebrew Kabbalistic manuscripts, and preserved the last Visigothic texts. For her, truth had neither religion nor ethnic origin. Only the quality of thought mattered. This revolutionary vision made Cordoba a beacon of tolerance in a Europe often torn by religious conflicts. Alas, this golden age did not last forever. In 976, Al-Hakam II died prematurely. His successor, Hisham II, was only a child. Power fell into the hands of Al-Mansur, an ambitious general who established a strict military regime. Al-Mansur, to please the most conservative elements, ordered a purge of the library. Thousands of philosophy and science works were burned, deemed contrary to religious orthodoxy. Lubna, now over 50 years old, watched helplessly as the work of her life was destroyed. Some sources claim she tried to save the most precious manuscripts by hiding them in provincial palaces. She died around 984 or 986, perhaps in exile in Carmona, taking with her the secrets of a civilization at its peak. With Lubna's death ended one of the most brilliant chapters in the intellectual history of the West. Her disappearance marked the beginning of Al-Andalus' decline, which would gradually sink into civil wars before being reconquered by Christian kingdoms. But her legacy endures. Her classification methods influenced European librarians for centuries. Her translations enabled the rediscovery of Aristotle in the Latin West. Her poems inspired troubadours and mystics. Yet her name fell into oblivion. Male chroniclers, often jealous of her influence, minimized her role. Christian conquerors systematically erased all traces of Andalusian culture. It was not until the 20th century that historians rediscovered the figure of Lubna of Cordoba. The pioneering work of Évariste Lévy Provençal and more recently Maria Jesus Figuera revealed the scope of her work. Today, Lubna is celebrated as one of the first female librarians in history, a pioneer of documentary classification and an emblematic figure of intellectual tolerance. Schools bear her name in Spain. Literary prizes honor her in Morocco. In 2019, UNESCO inscribed her in its Memory of the World program as a personality who contributed exceptionally to preserving humanity's intellectual heritage. The story of Lubna of Cordoba teaches us several essential lessons. First, that genius has neither gender nor social origin. This slave, who became the most powerful intellectual of her time, proves that merit can triumph over all prejudices. Then, that knowledge is a universal good that transcends religious and cultural boundaries. Lubna's library, where all scholarly traditions dialogued, remains a model of intellectual pluralism. Finally, that the most brilliant civilizations are those that know how to welcome and value all talents wherever they come from. Lubna's Al-Andalus shows us what humanity can accomplish when it puts intelligence at the service of the common good. So next time you push open a library door, think of Lubna of Cordoba. Think of this extraordinary woman who, more than 1,000 years ago, made knowledge a bridge between peoples and cultures. Her story reminds us that behind every book lies a human adventure, that behind every discovery stands a passionate being, and that the true greatness of a civilization is measured by its capacity to elevate souls toward beauty and knowledge. I hope this dive into the life of Lubna of Cordoba pleased you. Don't hesitate to like this video, subscribe, and share your thoughts in comments. What historical personality would you like to discover in the next video? See you very soon for new adventures in the history of science and culture. May Lubna's passion for knowledge inspire you in your own quest for learning.